I still can't believe the words that came out of my own sister's mouth, even after all this time. No room for your discount store kids at this party. She smirked, her eyes gleaming with a malice I hadn't seen since we were teenagers vying for our parents' attention. My daughter, Sarah, who had been so excited just moments before, ran back to me, her little shoulders shaking with sobs. Her innocent face, usually so full of joy, was contorted in confusion and hurt. I can still hear her little voice asking, "Mommy, why did Auntie say we can't play? Are we not good enough?" My blood ran cold, and in that moment, something inside me snapped. Was I wrong for what I did next? Tell me, honestly, if you would have done the same thing. This whole mess started years ago, long before Sarah was even a twinkle in my eye, and it's deeply rooted in the twisted dynamics of my family, particularly with my older sister, Amelia. Amelia has always been competitive, not in a healthy, sibling rivalry kind of way, but in an almost pathological need to be superior. Growing up, if I got a B, she had to get an A. If I got a new bike, hers had to be bigger and shinier. Our parents, bless their hearts, never intentionally favored one of us, but Amelia always found a way to make it seem like she was the golden child, the one destined for greatness, while I was just me. I learned early on to just keep my head down and avoid her drama, which became a pattern that continued well into adulthood. I went to a state university, got a decent job as a graphic designer, and eventually married a wonderful man, Mark, who works as a high school teacher. We live a comfortable, middle-class life. We have a cozy house, 2 beautiful children, Sarah, who's now 7, and our son, Liam, who's 5, and we prioritize experiences over material possessions. We love our life, even if it's not dripping in luxury. Amelia, on the other hand, married a very wealthy man, Richard, who inherited a successful tech company. They live in a sprawling mansion in the most exclusive part of town, drive luxury cars, and take extravagant vacations. Their children, 11-year-old Emily and 9-year-old James, attend a prestigious private school and have every designer toy imaginable. Amelia has always made it a point to subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, remind me of the differences in our lifestyles. Every family gathering became a showcase for her latest acquisitions or her children's latest achievements. "Oh, you got a new sofa. That's nice, but ours is Italian leather, custom made." Or "Emily just won an award at her equestrian club. What are your kids up to these days?" It was exhausting, but I'd always just smiled and nodded, trying to maintain some semblance of family harmony. I kept telling myself that she was my sister, and despite her flaws, she was still family. Mark often told me I was too forgiving, that I let her walk all over me, but I always hoped she would grow out of it, that motherhood would soften her edges. I was wrong. The snide remarks became sharper, more personal, especially after Sarah and Liam were born. She started referring to them as "your kids," as if they were a separate species, or the little ones from the discount store, a jab at our more modest income. I tried to ignore it, to shield my children from her negativity, but it was getting harder. Sarah and Liam are sweet, well-behaved children, full of life and curiosity. They don't have designer clothes or expensive gadgets, but they have a loving home, a vast imagination, and a joy that money can't buy. They don't understand the concept of social hierarchy, and frankly, I never wanted them to. The incident that finally pushed me over the edge happened during Emily's 11th birthday party. Amelia had decided to throw an extravagant winter wonderland-themed party, complete with real snow imported for a sledding hill, professional ice sculptors, and a full catering staff. My kids, especially Sarah, were incredibly excited. Emily and Sarah, despite their mother's differences, had always had a somewhat distant but polite relationship. They would see each other at family gatherings, play briefly, and then drift apart, mostly because Amelia would swoop in and steer Emily away from lesser influences. But Sarah, being the optimist she is, always held out hope for a real friendship with her cousin. I remember Sarah carefully picking out her favorite sparkly dress for the party, a dress she loved because it made her feel like a princess. Liam, with his boundless energy, was buzzing about the prospect of playing in the snow. I had warned them both that Emily's parties were usually very structured and that they might not get to play freely, but they were too excited to listen. When we arrived at Amelia's mansion, the sheer scale of the party was overwhelming. There were professional entertainers dressed as Arctic animals, a full dessert bar that looked like something out of a magazine, and a live band playing festive music. Children from Emily's private school, all dressed in expensive-looking party clothes, were everywhere. Amelia greeted us at the door, her smile tight and a little too bright. She was wearing a shimmering designer gown, looking like she belonged on a red carpet. "Oh, you actually made it," she said, her eyes sweeping over our comparatively simple outfits. "Do come in. Just try not to track too much mud from your car onto the Persian rugs, darling." I bit my tongue. Mark squeezed my hand, a silent message of support. We went inside, and the kids immediately gravitated towards the sledding hill, their eyes wide with wonder. Emily, who was surrounded by a gaggle of her friends, gave a brief, almost imperceptible wave to Sarah. Sarah, beaming, started to run towards her. That's when it happened. Amelia, seeing Sarah approaching Emily, stepped in front of her. She bent down, not to Sarah's level, but maintaining an air of superiority, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness. "Oh, Sarah, darling, Emily and her friends are just about to start a very exclusive game. It's really for them, you know, with all their private school friends. There's just no room for your discount store kids at this party." She punctuated the last part with that sickening smirk, a look that conveyed pure contempt. Sarah froze. Her smile vanished, replaced by a look of utter bewilderment. She looked from Amelia to Emily, who had her back turned now, seemingly engrossed in a whispered conversation with her friends. The realization hit Sarah like a physical blow. Her lower lip began to tremble, and her eyes welled up with tears. She didn't say a word. She just turned around and ran, a small, heartbroken figure, back towards me, her sparkly dress a stark contrast to her crushing disappointment. Liam, bless his heart, saw his sister crying and immediately abandoned the idea of sledding, running after her, asking, "What's wrong, sissy? Are you okay?" My heart shattered into a million pieces watching my daughter's innocent joy be so cruelly extinguished. The shame, the anger, the sheer audacity of my own sister to deliberately hurt a child, her niece, in such a public and demeaning way, it was too much. Mark had seen it all too, his face a mask of disbelief and rage. He started to move towards Amelia, but I put a hand on his arm, silently telling him to let me handle it. I knelt down and pulled Sarah into my arms, hugging her tightly as she sobbed into my shoulder. "Mommy, why did Auntie say that?" She choked out, her voice muffled against my sweater. "Are we not good enough to play?" I stroked her hair, trying to compose myself, trying to find the right words to explain the inexplicable cruelty of an adult to a child. Liam clung to my leg, his innocent eyes wide with concern for his sister. Meanwhile, Amelia had turned back to her guests, a triumphant glint in her eyes, as if she had just successfully defended her territory. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. Here I was, at my sister's extravagant party, my daughter in tears because of her aunt's callous words, and my son confused and upset. I felt a lifetime of Amelia's digs, her snobbery, and her constant need to diminish me and my family, all bubbling to the surface. I knew I couldn't let this go, not this time, not when it was my child, my sweet Sarah, who was directly targeted and hurt. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have confronted her calmly, taken your kids and left, or done something completely different? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I stood up, holding Sarah's hand and Liam's. My vision tunneled on Amelia. She was laughing with a group of women, her head thrown back, completely oblivious, or perhaps uncaring, of the devastation she had just wrought. I walked straight towards her, my steps deliberate. The music was loud, the chatter was vibrant, but in my ears, everything was muffled except for the frantic beating of my own heart. When I reached her, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. The quiet intensity in my tone cut through the merriment like a knife. "Amelia," I said, her name a flat statement. She turned, her smile faltering when she saw my face. Her friends, sensing the shift in atmosphere, quieted down, their eyes darting between us. "Oh, hey, what's wrong? Is everything all right?" she asked, her voice still laced with that fake sweetness, but I could see a flicker of apprehension in her eyes. "No, Amelia, everything is not all right," I replied, my voice dangerously low. "You just made my daughter cry. You told her she wasn't good enough to play with her cousin because she's a discount store kid. Did you really just say that to a 7-year-old? Her face flushed, a mixture of defensiveness and anger. "Oh, don't be so dramatic. I was just joking. You know Emily's friends are very particular. I didn't mean anything by it." "You didn't mean anything by it," I scoffed, a dry, humorless sound. "You deliberately, intentionally hurt my daughter. You have spent years belittling my family, our choices, our lives, and I have always let it slide because you are my sister. But you don't get to do that to my children. They are not discount store kids, Amelia. They are kind, intelligent, wonderful children, and frankly, they are better than anything money can buy. And they deserve to be treated with respect, especially by their own aunt." Her eyes narrowed. "Don't you dare come into my house and make a scene. This is Emily's party, and you're ruining it. Ruining it," I repeated, a small, bitter laugh escaping me. "You ruined it, Amelia, the moment you opened your mouth and let your snobbery poison a child's happiness. You know what? You're right. There's no room for my children at this party, not when it's hosted by someone with such a small, ugly heart. We don't need your designer parties or your expensive toys. My kids have something far more valuable, a mother who will always protect them from cruel, petty people like you." I turned to Mark, who had come up behind me, silently supporting me. "Mark, let's go. We're leaving." "But the snow," Liam whimpered, looking up at me, confused. I knelt down to him, my voice softening. "I know, sweetie, but we can make our own snow at home, or we can find a place where everyone is welcome. Okay." He nodded, still a little sad, but understanding. As I stood up, Amelia, emboldened by my turning away, hissed, "Fine, go. See if I care. You're just jealous, always have been." I paused at the threshold, turned back, and looked her dead in the eye. My voice was calm, but every word was infused with years of pent-up frustration and a fierce maternal protectiveness. "Jealous, Amelia, the only thing I'm jealous of is the fact that you still have a mother who thinks you're capable of compassion. Because right now, I don't see it. And let me tell you something. You've always tried to make me feel small, to make me feel like I don't belong, like my family isn't good enough. Well, guess what? We're not good enough for asterisk you asterisk. We're too good for this toxicity. And from now on, you won't have to worry about our discount store kids bothering your precious family, because we won't be coming to any more of your parties ever again. With that, I took my children's hands, and Mark and I walked out of that opulent mansion, leaving Amelia standing there, stunned and fuming. We got into our car, and the moment the doors closed, I finally let the tears flow. Sarah, seeing me cry, put her small hand on my cheek. "It's okay, Mommy," she whispered. "I'm okay." And that, right there, was the real victory. The aftermath was predictable. Amelia immediately called my parents, weaving a tale of how I had ruined Emily's birthday party, and caused a scene, and verbally attacked her. My parents, caught in the middle, were upset. My mother called me, sounding distressed. I calmly explained what Amelia had said to Sarah, how deliberately cruel she had been. My mother was horrified, and I could hear the disappointment in her voice as she spoke of Amelia. My father, surprisingly, was on my side immediately. He knew Amelia's tendencies and had always been uncomfortable with her snobbery. He called Amelia himself, and from what I gathered, he gave her an earful. Richard, Amelia's husband, even called Mark to apologize, stating that he was appalled by Amelia's behavior and that he was going to have a serious talk with her. He sent Sarah a beautiful, heartfelt apology gift a few days later, a huge art kit, something she absolutely loves, along with a note telling her she was a wonderful, special girl. Emily also sent Sarah a handwritten card, apologizing for not saying anything and for not playing with her, saying she missed her. That melted my heart a little. For a while, family gatherings were tense, to say the least. Amelia and I haven't spoken since that day. She made no attempt to apologize to me or to Sarah. My parents try to bridge the gap, but I've told them firmly that I will not expose my children to that kind of negativity again. My boundaries are now firmly in place. My kids are thriving. Sarah still talks about the art kit from Richard and is constantly creating new masterpieces. Liam still asks if Auntie Amelia is being nice yet, but he's moved on. We've found other ways to celebrate, other friends who genuinely care, and our home is filled with so much more joy and peace now that Amelia's toxicity is out of our immediate lives. It was hard and it was painful, but looking back, it was absolutely the right decision. Protecting my children's emotional well-being was, and always will be, my top priority. Sometimes, cutting ties, even with family, is necessary for your own peace and the well-being of those you love most. If you were on my side and believe I did the right thing, please like this video. Subscribe for more stories like this, where I share deeply personal experiences and ask for your honest opinions. And please, share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section below. I'll see you all in the next story.